Alright, what's up everybody? It's your boy Akeem and welcome to today's vlog. Here to give you my final selection of my first round mock draft for the 2014 NFL Draft. Pick number 32 belongs to the defending Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks, going in 13-3 overall in the regular season and then beating and spanking the Denver Broncos in the Super Bowl 43-8. They pretty much made the Denver Broncos more look like My Little Ponies, if you know what I mean. They ended up just stomping the team and it had an impressive year and then looking to repeat this upcoming season. Now they had a great year on both sides of the field. Starting with the defensive side, they were actually the top passing defense team in the National Football League in terms of passing yards allowed, and they were actually 7th in the league in rushing yards allowed, which is very, very impressive. And the thing I like most about this entire situation for the Seattle Seahawks is that they did re-sign Earl Thomas, and they pretty much have their entire roster back for this upcoming year. They only lost Red Bryant, but they still have some of the key players. So on the defensive side, they really don't have to have in desperate need of any particular position, but they're going to look for players who can actually fill in as rotating players along with these starters. They have some well-developed players that probably at the most the position that I'm looking most at is defensive tackle, possibly, but I still think they could probably go not defensive tackle but defensive end. But I still think they have a great 4-3 defense overall, and they have so many great players on that side of the ball. Bobby Wagner, Richard Sherman, and Earl Thomas. Earl Thomas I mentioned earlier, they re-signed him to a $40 million deal. I'm very impressed by this defense. Now on the offensive side, even though Russell Wilson had a great year, 26 touchdowns to 9 interceptions for over 3,300 yards passing, they were still actually 26th in the league overall in passing yards, mainly due to the fact that the offensive line, Wilson was sacked 44 times last season, so they could address the offensive line with possibly an offensive tackle or a guard. But I think the position that they're going to need most is wide receiver, because they lost their top target in Golden Tate. He is now a Detroit Lion. I was about to say Detroit Piston, but Detroit Lion, and he was just under 900 yards receiving last season. So they're looking to have a good player to replace him. And for me, I might have to go with the best player available. It's Allen Robinson out of Penn State. He's a phenomenal player. He gives you some great yardage after the catch, a good athlete, and I think he could complement Percy Harvin, two well-developed athletes who could give you some tough, good yardage after the catch. I think this would be a wonderful addition to this Seattle receiving core. He has great veterancy, good leadership skills, and he will be able to become a key role in that offense immediately. Now, who I think they probably will select for this pick is Kelvin Benjamin out of Florida State. Now, I still have him available in that particular mock draft, and I think that the Seattle Seahawks is going to try to steal him because of his size and his effectiveness in the red zone. He's a big-time red zone threat, still has some ways to develop, and he also just needs to catch the football a lot more often, not kind of lessen the amount of drops that he had, but he's still a great player, has so much potential, and I probably have a little hunch that he might even be selected way earlier than pick number 32. But I'm going to actually stick with both of my mock drafts on who I think the teams will select and who I think the teams should select. And for this particular selection, I'm going to have to go with Allen Robinson, or who they should select, but who I think they will select is Kelvin Benjamin out of Florida State. Now that pretty much wraps everything up with my first round mock draft. And before I end this video, I'm going to give you my not my honorees of who I think will be the offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, and the sleepers entering towards this draft on both sides of the field. Offensive rookie of the year, I'm going to actually go with Johnny Manziel out of Texas A&M. He's a great athlete, big-time dual threat, and we saw in recent years with RG3 as well as Cam Newton winning offensive rookie year because they have such an impressive dual threat quarterbacks who can run the football and pass the football. And I think this will be the same for Johnny Manziel. Now the only way I think he will not win is if Sammy Watkins is selected 5th overall to the Oakland Raiders. If the Raiders pick up Sammy Watkins, I think that Watkins will be the offensive rookie of the year because they have no really top-notch receivers, and he will probably be that #1 target right off the bat. He's a great athlete, good he can give you some tough yardage after the catch, good route running ability, and the thing I like most about him is his body control to get to the football. That's what I love. That's what's most impressive about him. He definitely can get to the football, and he has great body control where he can shift his hips and change his entire direction, his body direction to get to the football, which is a great thing. I think that Sammy Watkins could be that rookie of the year if the Oakland Raiders end up selecting him. But if not, I'm going to have to go with Johnny Manziel out of Texas A&M. Defensive rookie of the year, now this was a little bit of a tough one. one. Now, in recent seasons, we've been seeing not non-first rounders win offensive and defensive rookie of the year honors. And I think for this particular year, I'm going to have to go with Deion Buchanan out of Washington State. Now, I think he could give you some Ed Reed type plays this upcoming season as a rookie. I think he's going to cause some turnovers, get some interceptions, become a good safety for any team who does select him in this year's draft. I think he's a good, a decent cover safety. He can even help out with run support. And I have a hunch that I'm really going with the wild card on this one and going who's the best player who catches my eye, and that is Deion Buchanan out of Washington State. I think he could become the defensive rookie of the year this upcoming season. Now, my sleepers, start with the offensive side. I'm going to have to actually go with a quarterback here, and David Fowles out of San Jose State. Now, remember, he actually gave Stanford a run for their money, and that Stanford defense with all those great players, like Shane Scave and as well as Trent Murphy. They had some great players on the defensive side. Ed Reynolds. They had amazing players on the Stanford Cardinal defense, and Fowles actually gave them a run for their money, a couple of close losses, but he's still a good quarterback, very accurate. Back in 2012, he had 72% accuracy in passing. He's a good, accurate quarterback, decent arm, not the strongest arm that you're looking for, but he is accurate to get the football to his receivers. I think he can become a good sleeper in the near future, possibly a career in the National Football League. Defensive sleeper, I'm going to have to go with Denikos Allen out of Michigan State. He's not been getting enough notoriety. I think people are overlooking him. He has a lot of tackles for loss, and he had a very productive career as a Michigan State Spartan. He was a key role on that defense. That's just my personal opinion, not just an opinion. That's a fact. Had just under 100 tackles this past season with 98, and also 16 tackles for loss. He could definitely get behind that line of scrimmage. Now, yes, he runs a 4.7, 4.40, but I think he's a little bit faster than that, and that is not too bad. I still think that's a decent speed at the outside linebacker position, and I think he could become a good key addition and a starter for any team in the National Football League. That's just my opinion. I still have a little bit of faith in him, and that's why I have him as my sleeper as a defensive player heading towards the NFL. Now, that wraps things up with all my picks for the first round, but even though we're coming towards to the 8th of this year's NFL draft, I'm still going to give you guys scout reports, some last-minute scout reports. Teams are still doing their research, still debating on who they should select, and I will still continue to give you more scout reports. Starting with this weekend, I'm actually going to aim for like 10 scout reports over the weekend for you guys, and I'm still going to give you some scout reports over the week, this next week before the NFL draft. Just going to give you some last-minute scout reports just to give you guys a heads up and still have the debates going for players who you should select for each team of the National Football League. I'll catch you guys starting tomorrow. I'm going to give you guys a couple of scout reports, the same on Sunday and even during the week for next week. I'll see you guys then. Thank you for watching today's vlog. From Pro Football Exclusive, I'm your man, Keen McCall. Be easy.